great to be able to get that sort of involvement. That's what it's all about, really.
Well, to what degree does Darwin retain any vestiges of being a frontier town, do you think?
Well, Darwin is mainly is sort of a place for tourists or any visitors that come. It's virtually still very much a stopover town, but it certainly has got a lot of pioneering areas still around it, and you know, when you consider after Cyclone Tracy, it was certainly very much a pioneering effort to get the city rebuilt. So those characters are still here. We're still looking for greater and better things to come. And the job of rebuilding Darwin has still got a long way to go, but certainly there's been a great start made.
One thing people do mention is the climate, of course, and in particular the wet, and how to live through the wet. How do you do that?
Well, it's the build-up really to the wet. It's a little bit difficult because every day is around 34 degrees and the humidity is in the 90s, which is a bit hard to take after you've just come out of a glorious climate of 32 degrees every day and, you know, humidity in the 50s. But it's a matter of organising yourself for it, and it's providing you've got an air-conditioned house. It's quite easy that you can sleep at night. And during the day, well, it's quite pleasant still. And I feel that the wet sometimes is better than the dry, actually, because it does give us a difference in climate. And this is something you need very much, where most people use the 4 seasons, or we only have 2. But later on in the wet, it becomes quite pleasant, and the rain is very welcome and certainly makes Darwin very green and lush, and it certainly adds to the beauty of the city.
To all present, Laurie and Simone have declared before me and before all of you that they will live together in marriage. They've made special promises to each other.
Darwin's tropical climate seems to have created a special breed of people with a very individual way of doing things. This is a beach wedding at the Fanny Bay Water Ski Club.
I now declare that you be husband and wife. Would you kiss your bride?
A beach wedding sounds more like Bali than Australia, but all this is very Darwin, typical of the way the city leads its life outdoors. Darwin's annual City to Surf fun run, 12 kilometres in tropical heat, attracts hundreds of competitors. Even indoors, Darwin is keen on active and competitive sport. In fact, most of the city seems to be sports mad. Darwin is not a stay-at-home, inward-looking kind of place. People get up and join in. In its own eccentric, tropical way, Darwin is very Australian, especially when it combines its favourite sports, sailing and drinking. The action in Darwin doesn't stop when the sun goes down. Darwin people like to go out and eat out, and the city's restaurants are well patronised. But even more, they like to entertain at home and invite other people around. This is a typical suburban barbecue. It's an institution that seems to be made for Darwin's predictable climate and its friendly, casual way of life.
Oh, it's quite an important part, I think. It's, you know, it's part of the social, people get to meet each other and sort of, you know, just have a good time and sort of forget about the day's worries. And it's just a way of life in Darwin, you know. Everybody's having them. The guy next door has one, the fellow next door has one.
What is it? Is it the climate that makes this sort of thing possible to you? Or?
Climate and people. A lot of people are transit people, and they're all looking for something, and all, I think, looking for an easy way of life.
And is Darwin the answer for many people, do you think?
I think so, yeah.
For you?
Yeah. the sort of place you hate while you're here, but as soon as you leave it, you miss it like that. You want to come back.
How about you, Stuart? What do you think's the thing about the lifestyle here?
There's certainly something to be said about the fact that you hate it while you're here. There's no doubt about that. If you stay here more than a year, you start to go troppo. I mean, the term troppo is something that definitely applies to people. But once you leave, you feel it's a magnetic attraction to come back again to Darwin. And once you're back again, you know where you are, you know the people, you feel at home. And it's almost like coming home. Home isn't actually Darwin for me, but it feels like coming home. And there's no problem at all.
Darwin is not all transients or new arrivals. It has its old established residents who'd never leave it. Nan Giese arrived in 1954 with her husband, a leading public servant, and she's Northern Territory President of the Arts Council.
When we came here, there were only 9,000 people. It was a small country town. It seemed to be regarded as an outpost empire. When we left the south and we lived in Canberra to come to Darwin, people looked on us as intrepid pioneers going to the last frontier. We have seen many changes. We've seen it develop into a modern city, and this is what I think it's moving towards now.
Obviously, there are lots of things to do in an outdoors sense. There's sport, all sorts of outdoors activities, but can people in Darwin get the cultural opportunities that they might enjoy in other cities?
We have no facilities for arts activities, although our Northern Territory government has given a commitment to providing those facilities. At the present time, there is the development of a museum and art gallery building,